You're listening to the Power Agent Blogcast, empowering agents to elevate their business to the next level.
Challenges are just a guide, leading you, don't run and hide. You've got the heart, you've got the drive, feel it pound, you're alive. Power Agent.
Welcome to the Power Agent Blogcast. Today, we're tackling something really important, navigating these big economic shifts we're seeing, specifically things like global tariffs and how they're increasingly, relevant to the real estate world.
Absolutely. It's easy to see those big economic headlines and think they're kind of abstract, maybe distant, but they genuinely impact the day-to-day work in real estate. They shape your world.
That's exactly it. So our mission here is to pull out the key insights. We want to help understand how these shifts, like tariffs, affect real estate and, maybe more importantly, how to navigate them.
And this is really for anyone in the business or even just watching the market closely. These factors aren't theoretical. They hit home.
They really do. So let's start there. Why do these big economic changes matter so much in real estate? What's the direct link?
Well, you can think of it like a ripple effect. What happens with global trade, industrial news, it doesn't stay there. It washes over real estate in several key ways.
Okay, like what?
Construction costs are a big one. Think about tariffs on imported materials, steel, lumber, things like that. When those tariffs go up, the cost to build, it just increases pretty directly.
So if steel tariffs jump, say, 10%, you'll see that reflected in the cost of framing a new building.
You often do, yeah. It hits developer budgets, and that can trickle down to the final price of new homes, or even affect the feasibility of some projects starting at all.
And that's not just new construction, right?
Yeah.
How does that ripple out to the existing market most agents deal with?
Good point. It connects. If new builds become more expensive or slower to come online, that can reduce the overall supply, which in turn can put upward pressure on the prices of existing homes. People have fewer new options.
Okay, so supply gets tighter.
And also think about homeowners planning renovations. If materials suddenly cost a lot more, they might just put those plans on hold. That affects the flow of updated properties hitting the market.
Right. And then there are interest rates. They're always huge in real estate.
Exactly. Interest rates are, closely tied to the wider economic climate. Central banks react to signals, trade issues, inflation worries. Their decisions directly impact mortgage affordability, what buyers can actually afford.
So it's like a chain reaction. Tariffs hit material costs, impacting construction and renovation, which can limit supply and push prices. And at the same time, these broader economic worries influence interest rates, hitting affordability.
Precisely. And all of this creates a layer of, uncertainty, caution.
Among buyers and sellers.
Yes. Buyers might pause, worried about their jobs or where the economy's heading. Sellers might hesitate too, wondering if it's the right time to list in a market that feels jumpy.
You can end up with a slower market overall, maybe more anxiety for everyone involved, including the agents trying to guide people through it.
It really highlights how interconnected things are. These seemingly distant economic policies land right in the middle of a real estate transaction.
It certainly does. Okay, so given that reality, this unpredictable environment, what are some effective strategies? How can real estate professionals actually navigate this?
I think a really fundamental starting point is staying informed, but critically informed.
What do you mean by critically?
Well, there's just so much noise out there, isn't there? Especially on social media. Lots of spin, lots of fear-based headlines. It's crucial to focus on reputable sources. Solid economic reporting, trusted industry publications, places that offer analysis, not just reaction.
So filter out the sensationalism.
Exactly. Understand the underlying economics. Don't just react to every single headline that flashes by. The goal is to distill what's relevant into something actionable for your clients. Help them see clearly rather than getting swept up in fear.
Like providing context, maybe explaining how similar situations played out before.
Precisely. Context is key. Showing how, for example, specific tariffs have historically impacted certain sectors can be really valuable in a client conversation about, say, long-term value.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Filter the noise, focus on quality analysis. What else? Beyond just information gathering.
Creating a sense of calm and clear communication is huge, both within your own team, if you have one, and definitely with your clients.
Because change makes people anxious.
It really does. And silence or vague communication just makes that anxiety worse. So being proactive with updates, explaining why the market is doing what it's doing in simple terms, keeping those lines of communication open, it builds trust.
Virtual meetings, quick check-in calls, whatever works.
Right. When people feel like they understand what's happening, even if the news isn't great, they tend to feel more empowered and less likely to panic.
Transparency as an antidote to anxiety. Makes sense. What else is important to keep front of mind?
Remembering the personal side of all this. Economic stress isn't just numbers on a page. It hits people individually, their families, their sense of security.
So empathy is key when talking to clients.
Absolutely. Understanding their fears about affordability or maybe job security, acknowledging those concerns is vital. And honestly, extending that same consideration to colleagues too. Checking in, fostering a supportive atmosphere. It strengthens your network, builds morale when things feel tough.
Sometimes just asking, how are you holding up, can make a difference.
It really can. It recognizes the human element behind the market shifts.
Now, you mentioned things like tariffs, government policies. These discussions can easily slide into political territory, can't they? How do you handle that professionally?
That requires real skill. Neutrality is key, and careful word choice.
Avoid taking sides.
Definitely. Getting drawn into political debates with clients or even colleagues is usually counterproductive. They can alienate people. The focus should always be on the objective market information. What are the facts? What are the potential outcomes for the client's situation?
Guide them towards solutions based on their needs, not your political leanings.
Exactly. Frame it around market realities, potential strategies. Keep the politics out of it. That way, you remain a trusted advisor for everyone.
Stick to the market, not the commentary. Got it. Any other priorities in these uncertain times?
I think refocusing on relationships becomes even more critical, maybe even more than just chasing the next deal, the immediate revenue.
Why is that more important now?
Because when things feel unstable, people crave connection, reassurance, trust. If you really double down on building and nurturing those client relationships, you establish yourself as that go-to reliable resource for the long haul, not just for this one transaction.
So it's about being the trusted advisor, offering value beyond just the sale itself.
Yes, offering your expertise consistently, giving great service, showing you genuinely care about their well-being, that fosters loyalty that lasts way beyond whatever the current market cycle is doing.
Being that source of stability and expertise.
Couldn't have said it better. And one last piece, maybe. It's about your own attitude, how you show up.
Leading by example.
Pretty much. Modeling resilience, a balanced optimism. People pick up on your cues, your clients, your colleagues. They see how you're reacting.
So if you seem panicked, they'll panic.
It can definitely amplify their own anxieties. But if you project a kind of grounded optimism, not denial, but realistic confidence, based on understanding the market, believing in your ability and theirs to navigate it, that provides stability.
Maybe celebrate the small wins. Offer some perspective.
Yes. Remind people that markets always shift. We've navigated choppy waters before. Reinforce that adaptability is what leads to success over time.
Providing that steady hand, it makes sense. So these tariffs we started with, they're really just one example, aren't they, of the kind of ongoing disruptions we see in real estate?
That's exactly right. Tariffs are a very current example, but the core skill here is learning how to navigate change effectively, whatever the specific disruption might be. Being able to analyze shifts, communicate clearly, act professionally, serve with empathy. Those are the crucial skills in any economic climate.
So the real takeaway is about equipping ourselves, and maybe our teams and networks, to think critically about these forces.
And to guide clients professionally, without bias, supporting them with real understanding and care.
Adaptability, market insight, and that commitment to service. Those seem like the keys.
There really are. That's what helps overcome the fear and uncertainty and allows people to not just survive, but actually thrive in the long run.
Okay, so to wrap up, economic shifts like those from tariffs are definitely a reality we have to deal with in real estate. But taking a proactive, informed, empathetic approach, whether you lead a team or work solo, that's how you navigate successfully.
Which leads to maybe a final thought for everyone listening. How can you, maybe this week, intentionally apply just one of these ideas? Maybe it's digging deeper into market analysis. Maybe it's enhancing client communication. Or maybe just strengthening those network connections.
Thinking about how your role goes beyond just the transaction, especially now.
Exactly. How can you be that source of informed guidance, that point of stability for your clients, while these economic discussions are swirling around them? Something to consider.